Welcome to the Living Big podcast, where we're all about embracing life to the fullest. Hey, I'm Marley.
And I'm Kylie, and we're thrilled you're here. We explore how to pursue our passions, nurture meaningful connections, and inject some serious fun into our lives.
We're here to show you you're not alone.
And we want to do what we can to ease the stresses of everyday life and help you in your journey of living big.
This episode is proudly sponsored by Event Penguin, your go-to solution for creating unforgettable events. Say goodbye to clunky and hard-to-use event sites and create your next event in minutes today.
Whether it's a party, conference, or a networking event, Event Penguin has everything you need to bring your vision to life. Visit eventpenguin.com today and discover beautiful, customizable event pages that make planning a breeze. With a seamless guest experience, Event Penguin lets you focus on what truly matters, making your event a smashing success. Start building your community through events effortlessly. Jump in! Welcome back to another episode of Living Big. We're so excited to be here with a special guest today. The one and only Julia South. I call her Jules, and she's one of our very best friends. Has been for a lot of years now.
A lot of years now.
How many years have we known each other?
Let's see. I think 2016.
2016.
So like 8 years.
8 years. We're going on a decade of friendship, everybody.
Oh,
that's exciting.
That's so awesome.
I can't believe that. That's crazy.
We're excited. We're up here in Idaho, where Julia and her husband live, and we are recording this in their beautiful cabin.
Yeah.
So it's really fun.
I know, it's so nice. We're having
So happy we can all be here.
like an adult sleepover.
Yes, an adult
fun.
sleepover. We need those too.
Absolutely.
We do.
Yes.
We need them more than children need
We
them.
do.
Just kidding.
We have them for our kids, but more for us.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Julia is absolutely amazing. She, like I said, has been one of our very best friends for like 8 years now. And she's an incredible new mama. How old's your baby? Tell us a little bit about your baby.
Okay. She's 3 months. She was born in November. And she's babbling, and she's so fun, and she's so observant, and I don't know. I just love watching her grow. It's so fun.
She's so cute.
It's been the best adventure of my life thus far, so it's fun. I'm glad I could join you guys in the mom crew.
Yeah.
Finally.
We like mom clubs.
Welcome
Mom club
to
is
the
the best
club.
club. Yeah,
Yes.
it is.
I love that.
An upgrade for sure.
So we have a shared history that started in Ukraine, actually, of all the places. As you guys know, both me and Marley served in Ukraine, and so did Julia, for our missions for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. That's where we first met, became friends, and then we have been lucky enough to just continue to kindle that relationship beyond the mission. And it's been so impactful. Julia is full of light, full of grace, beauty, compassion, all the things like I aspire to be, and so we wanted to bring her on today. And she's also has history of being a nurse. And I think all of this is going to tie into today's topic, and we're really excited to talk more about the topic in a little bit. But before we jump into that, we actually have a review from Julia that we would love for her to read.
Yes. Okay. I said, I have absolutely loved listening to this podcast. I find it applicable not just to moms, but any individual. Kylie and Marley are able to vocalize their thoughts eloquently while also making the podcast so relatable. I have so much fun listening to them. It's like sitting down and having a conversation with your besties, which for me it is. So especially today, quite literally. Sit on the couch with us, have a conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I love listening to you guys every week. It really is so comfortable, and it's like sitting down and listening to my best friends, and it's I don't know, it's just very relatable and very entertaining and fun. I love it. I love it,
that
and
too.
I always learn.
We really appreciate the review. It's so, so kind. Today, our episode theme is kind of more serious. We're going to be talking about trials and challenges, and not only just like working to overcome those, but how to find strength in the struggles.
Yeah.
Because some challenges and trials don't go away, and some things are things that we've had to deal with for a long time. And we felt like Julia was a really important person to bring on for this because she also has had her own unique set of challenges, and I really do look up to you as an example of like pursuing through that with so much light and grace and faith, and I think that's absolutely beautiful. So we wanted to bring you on for our audience for that. But before we get into that, I think we need to reminisce on some of the funny moments
Yes.
that we've had in the friendship, both in Ukraine and then after.
There's many.
Yes.
You know, whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
I'm a nurse, so I'm an open book. We can share it all.
But, you
Just
know,
what the viewers want to listen to.
Right.
That's the real question.
when you think about back to our time in Ukraine, what are some of the like funny memories that you have of that beginning? It was the very beginning of her mission and the very end of mine when we served together.
And Marley's too. Yeah.
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 So you were fresh.
I was fresh. Something that the viewers should know, if you guys are not a member of our church, we when we serve our church missions, we have someone, when we start our mission, we have someone a little bit older in the mission who's been there longer that will train us and, you know, kind of prepare us for the rest of our mission. Kylie was that for me. So I'm what you would call a greenie. I was brand new. How open should I be?
However open you feel comfortable with. We don't have to dive too deep, but I'm like,
We'll just say I was having some bowel issues. we'll just be open.
Ooh.
It was great. We're all open here, right? Yeah.
We don't really have a filter.
Yeah.
most of the people listening to this are moms too. So it's
Yeah.
like, once you've been through birth, it's like, it's whatever.
It's whatever.
There's
Yeah.
no TMI.
No.
Ended up needing to be hospitalized for it twice, actually.
The first one was an emergency situation.
Yes. Kylie woke up to me basically just
Vomiting.
vomiting.
You can say vomit.
Profusely into the toilet. Called a cab, and they rushed us to the hospital. I'm like, meanwhile, like completely delirious the entire time. Like I barely remember anything from that. I think we got to the
remember
hospital.
every detail all too well.
Oh no. Yeah, she's seen it all, folks, unfortunately for her. But yeah, we got to the hospital, and I think I passed out on the
Yeah.
way into the hospital. Oh, it was that bad. Yeah.
Goodness.
They had to hook me up to stuff, had to pump me with all kinds of fluids, had to pump all
Your stomach.
sorts of areas. Yeah, stomach. Yeah. Kylie had to, one thing that people should know, if you know you're not from the U.S., in Ukraine, everything it's free healthcare, but
But it's not.
it's free healthcare, but you have to pay for everything basically. So everything they were putting in me,
Well, even the needle from the IV,
From
like
the E down to-
literally,
yes.
the spoon you used for your
the
soup.
spoon for the water with onions and 2 carrots in it. Yeah, Kylie was having to run to what they call the apteka, which is the pharmacy, and back and bring all the things. that they were
Even the
putting in
toilet
me.
paper you had
down
to
to
use.
the toilet
I had
paper.
to go to the pharmacy to buy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, so lots of fun.
This was also after
Kylie, you
I
have to give
force
your-
fed you. Okay, I feel so bad. So poor Jules, she's here, new missionary, probably scared out of your mind, like being
New
in
country,
Ukraine.
new climate.
Yeah, first
I don't know.
few
Looking back
weeks,
at that.
I look
she
back
has
and I'm
not
like,
been able to, go to the bathroom.
I was not regular. Yeah,
And
yeah.
I had the
That's
genius
way to put it.
idea, like, if I pump her with fiber, she's going
she's gonna be great.
we're gonna get over that edge, right?
Oh, we got over the edge.
Just the wrong way.
The wrong way.
the wrong
Forcefully.
edge. The wrong edge.
The wrong edge or the wrong end?
And it was very, very, very bad.
Literally, I'm like doing awkward hands in here. I'm like,
You both are.
yeah. There's some stress. I'm like sweating.
Some PTSD.
coming
Yeah.
It's all coming back.
No, I just felt so bad for her because so we're in the hospital after I force fed her a massive bowl of peas.
Peas,
Like,
yes,
Do
indeed.
peas have a lot of fiber?
Supposedly.
I
Supposedly.
don't even know. It was like we didn't have internet. I have this vegetable in my freezer.
Yeah.
Vegetables make
She's
you
like,
regular.
I think this is high fiber. Sure.
So I literally she's like, I can't fit anything else in my stomach, and I'm like, eat it.
It had been like 2 weeks,
Eat
3
it.
weeks maybe.
Eat it because I was trying to do the best that I could. to help
2-3
her.
weeks.
Yeah.
Nobody should ever go that long. If you do, go to the ER.
Or you might have to
Preferably
go
not in
there.
another country.
Emergency
Not in another
moment.
country, yeah, where you don't speak the language very well.
This
at
actually
all.
happened on Bachelor in Paradise too, and I literally was having
Yes.
flashbacks.
Yes.
To our time together.
I was like, no one understands. It is the most stressful thing on the planet.
Yeah.
I understand.
And they sent her home.
They sent her
because
home.
it's a health emergency.
It is actually.
Meanwhile, we're
They
just like
probably
out.
should have sent you home.
Yeah.
Did you call anyone?
Yes, we were on the phone with the mission doctor.
Yeah.
What did
frequently.
he say?
Yeah. He was like, get her to the ER now.
Yeah.
Okay,
When
so
you
he
call-
was stressed. Okay.
Yeah. So I call a cab in Russian.
He was
right?
appropriately stressed. Okay.
Luckily,
Yeah.
the cab driver, such an amazing man, which
He was.
How
can't be
random.
all said for all cab drivers. No
Yeah.
offense, but like that's not always the experience that I've had.
Yeah.
Right. No.
He literally helped me carry Julia into the hospital.
I don't even remember
because
that. He
passed
did?
out.
I don't
Yeah.
remember. I remember him asking for a
And he was
wheelchair.
okay. Yeah, and he goes in and he's like asking for a wheelchair.
I passed out on the front door, like the doorway of the hospital. I just like collapsed.
And he was so sweet. Like he was like, if you're gonna throw up in my car, it's okay. You know, just like so sweet. You know,
yeah.
just genuinely such a good guy.
So
and
sweet.
Anyway, so we get into the hospital. We get back to this room where there are two ladies. We share a room, so there's no individual rooms. We shared a room where there were two older women who were actually on their deathbed.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I don't know if Julia like remembers all of this because
little
you were
bit.
in and out.
I was
lot.
in and out of reality.
And it was like something
Consciousness.
you can only imagine if you're from America. For me, with all of my privileges, I could only imagine in like a crazy movie.
Like a 1940s horror film. It was like,
Yeah.
like the lights swinging from the hallways, like
broken windows, legitimately.
You know, people were smoking,
Like one light bulb in the room.
screaming. They were like having bloody
Literally.
people down.
The women
rolling
in the
bloody
room
people down
all night
on,
would
like,
moan and
stretchers.
scream because they were actually on their deathbeds.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my poor sweet companion, who's brand new, luckily you slept a lot, and I was so grateful. I'm sitting in a chair watching
Poor
like
Kylie did not
spiders
at all.
crawl up the wall and stuff, and I'm just like, I can't believe I brought her here. Like
The
I don't know
sheets
what
are
to
like
do.
blood stained
I'm
and like
sitting in
puke
this
stained.
rickety chair. Yeah, it was.
bad.
They took her to a room to go to the bathroom, and it was just like a toilet and like a hole in the ground. No toilet paper, like I said. Anyway,
Oh, I hate the holes in the ground.
Yeah.
it was
A
horrifying.
metal like bed thing they pulled out for me. Anyways, yeah, we won't get too graphic here. We won't. We won't.
Not
do that.
only that, but 3 days, two days in, 2.5 days in, they would not let us leave.
They wouldn't let us leave.
They refused to let us out.
They were holding you hostage.
Yes.
They were.
Why?
This is what they do. I don't know why.
In-
to keep you to continue to do procedures so that
Yeah.
they can rack up your bill and
more
things
money.
like that.
Yeah.
We had to get to the point where we had to call the mission president, and he had to travel the 3.5 hours.
They busted us out. Yeah.
So he came to bust us out, to break us out of the hospital. He did that, and then we ended up in a German facility.
The next time, I think
The
he
next
was
time.
British. He was English.
Yeah,
He was
I
from.
think it was an American facility. Though.
It was American,
like,
but he,
technically.
That's when I
the
went to.
doctor himself was
Yeah.
English. Was
Yes.
English or something like that. Anyways,
And that was a much better experience.
much better.
than the small town one.
Much better.
So
Yeah.
like right from the get-go,
Yeah.
Jules and I were really bonded in a way that a lot of people don't get bonded.
I'm like a lot of humans.
Yes.
Never.
Bonded like that.
No.
And
we're
that
soul
was-
sisters now.
One of several experiences where we got bonded, not just with like the bowel challenges.
sure, yeah.
But that transfer ended up being really crazy in
did,
a lot of ways.
in a lot of ways, for
And
some
I felt so bad for you, but at the same time, it was like so beautiful because I learned to love you on a level I didn't even know I could do for like
Yeah.
not family.
Yeah.
And
No, it's
just
true.
saw you as a sister and forever have since then. So
I felt the same way.
we had some fun shared experiences. We also had a really fun time too. And
We did.
Ukraine is beautiful and has so many amazing things.
We did.
But that did
We
kind
did.
of just shape the way our relationship went from then
Mm-hmm.
on. And so today we specifically want to be talking about, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, like finding strength in the struggles and going through hard experiences with the people that you love and need.
Yeah.
It's gonna get, I don't know, maybe not like tough, but definitely just into some kind of personal things, right? And I hope, I guess, that people will be able to relate. Maybe you haven't had the exact same experiences, but I personally believe that everyone is always going through something.
Yeah.
And so being able to just shed some light on those tough things and, you know, letting everyone know that we're all human, we're all figuring things out, we're all trying to like be okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully I think will I think that helps us to just be more kind and compassionate and whatnot toward each other. We've definitely, I think both of you more so than I have had definitely your fair share of health struggles,
right?
Your health journeys, specifically even with, becoming mothers and that kind of situation was, that was definitely a
You've
journey
had your
for both
own
of
as
you.
well, but yes,
But there are a myriad of challenges.
It comes
and
in all
struggles
shapes and sizes.
in the human experience, right? Like,
absolutely.
For some people, it's going to be more health oriented. For some people, it's going to be, just a different aspect of health,
Right.
mental
Mental.
health rather than physical health or whatever it may be.
Yep.
Could be your children. It could be like there's just
Relationships.
Yeah.
we're human.
Yeah.
We're human.
Yeah.
It's a human experience here.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know if you want to share any of the struggles that you've dealt with and kind of get into that. but-
Yeah, I'll just come out right now and say I have a Band-Aid on my face.
Perfect timing.
For the ones that are watching on video and for the ones who are listening, the reason I have a Band-Aid on my face, which might not seem like a big deal to a lot of people, is I've had an ongoing chronic health challenge for coming on 7 years now that we haven't been able to figure out, and it has some kind of autoimmune undertones, but it also has some nerve undertones, and it manifests on my face, and it's really an exciting thing. That was sarcastic, but that's how we
it.
A
cope.
little bit of satire there, yeah.
No, but I think one of the important things too that even Julia and I were talking about this morning before this episode was some of the challenges and struggles that we talk about may be things we have overcome. And then there are some where we're still in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And maybe there are even some challenges and struggles that we're never going to fully understand in this life. And being able to find good coping strategies and finding strength and lessons throughout all of that, I think is like the key to any challenge or trial you're going through.
Yeah.
And this is one where there are days where I do really good and months where I do really good and it's not a big issue for me, and then other times where it really gets to me. It's just this lovely rash that I get.
Yeah.
But it causes a lot of nerve pain, nerve issues along my whole side of my face and my scalp, and a myriad of other health challenges. So it's still one we're trying to figure out and everything. And it may seem small to some people, but to me it has been a big part of the last 7 years of my life.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to navigate and figure out what to do there.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's hard because for you, it's like, you're like, it's my face. It's forever, that's like very, I don't know. That's hard.
It's very vulnerable, for sure.
Yes,
It's not
absolutely.
like, oh, it's
a
on my
vulnerable
back.
place. Yeah.
No one can see it.
Right.
I
Yeah.
still deal with the same pain, but it's
Right.
hidden. Like, this is like very much
In your
for the
face.
world to see, and
That's quite,
has affected jobs and all kinds of
Absolutely.
things. But
it's a vulnerable thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. That's hard.
Yeah. So it's a daily struggle and it's affected you for quite a long time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how have you managed to deal with it and what have you learned along the way?
Multiple things.
Yeah.
Still learning.
You're like, how long do we have? Yeah.
I think one of the biggest takeaways that I would want to share with our audience, I guess, is just I have been so incredibly blessed with such loving people in my life. And that honestly makes personal struggles a lot easier for me. And I sometimes feel stupid because I'm like, oh, I have this again. Like, people have heard this 20,000 times. I don't want to burden my husband, for example. But every time it happens, it makes me cry, every single time. But I'm continually amazed by the amount of compassion the people around me have. Literally, just the other night, as I'm sobbing in bed about it for the umpteenth time, Hiram just held me, let me cry, talked me through it, helped me get to a point where I didn't feel so overwhelmed, so panicky, and then I was okay. But I needed to have that release, and I needed to have that supportive person. And the same thing for you guys. I'm it's just so nice knowing I have people in my corner that care about me. And even if it's happening chronically, like it doesn't get old and you just still want to support and love me. That's been a huge, huge takeaway for me, is that I'm so blessed to have such loving people in my life. And then for myself, just again, having it be such a vulnerable thing on my face has been an interesting lesson for me, because it's like, do I just like crawl into my shell, or do I go out and have the fun anyway?
Yeah.
And I was even telling my husband before we came to the cabin this weekend, I was like, I just want to go have fun with my friends and not look like a freak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want them to be like worried, and I know that they aren't.
No.
and I know that like people, but when it's like you feel funky.
Yeah.
But it's been, I think, good for me to have to push outside my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And learn how to advocate for myself as well, especially in the medical world, because I haven't had answers yet.
You have to be your own advocate these days.
Something I'm still trying to figure out. And it encompasses more than just the rash on my face. Like I said, it's like a whole nervous system issue. But it's been interesting because I've found a lot more confidence in myself and in saying like what I need. And trying to find the doctors that can help me. So that's kind of a cool consequence, I guess.
Yeah.
To the hard.
Yeah.
Well, I think you're amazing with it.
Thank you. I think you guys are amazing too.
And something we talk about a lot is how we're whole humans, right? And that's how I see you, Kai. I definitely don't see you as just
the thing on my
the
face.
thing on your face, the Band-Aid or whatever, you know? And it's so, for me, it's like so much easier to not focus on any of those things, and to, I don't know, make you feel weird about it or whatever, because I know so many other parts of you.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Jules, you've also had your kind of fair share of health challenges. Is there anything like you would be willing to share, or things that have taught you important life lessons through some of your health challenges?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how in depth I should get, but essentially, let's see, I think it's going on 7 years. This April will be 7 years.
Congrats, you both have the same anniversary
7
dates.
years of the chronic issues.
Cute.
I know, have fun. Yeah. Basically, I woke up on one day on my mission in Ukraine, and I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. Like I felt like someone had run over my back, and I was hurting from my neck to my pelvis, basically. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, surely
There hadn't been like any major trauma or like
there
something.
I hadn't fallen. I was like, surely I blew out a disc or something. I mean, like, this is so painful.
Something's herniated or something.
Yeah. And I pushed through, and for the remaining months, and when I went home, I had all kinds of, x-rays and MRI, and, they weren't really able to find anything. I've done been to a lot of doctors. Kylie, you also have with your things, no answers. I've done a lot of different varying treatments. At one point, they thought maybe it was, Lyme, which it could just be still.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. Anyways, I've done lots of things to kind of no avail, just not really received a lot of answers. And it ebbs and it flows. I have times that are good, and I have times that are really hard, but it's just kind of always there. It's just been really a chronic thing for me for years. And I've just had other health things too, just weird things. Really difficult pregnancy, just sick on an IV, all kinds of things. So I kind of have developed this relationship with my body where I just didn't trust my body. I just felt like my body was constantly failing me.
I very much understand that.
Yeah. I just felt like it couldn't do what it was supposed to. And I really started getting myself into this cycle where I was like letting it define me. I was like, I am sick. I am unwell. I
can't do the normal things.
I can't do they can do that, but I can't do that because I'm in pain, or because I'm, sick, or I'm
never going to feel good again.
Yeah. And I'm never going to get, and you kind of get to the point where you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel because it's been so long. And, know. I wish I could sit here and tell you that I'm like, Kylie and I were talking about this, you know, before, like that I'm a success story and I'm healed and I'm better now, and I'm not, and that's okay. I still deal with it. It's still there, but I feel like my perspective has changed a little bit. And I'm still working on it. I'm not the best person to, you know, depending on the day, some days I have a good attitude, some days I don't.
I think that's why you are the best person
Some
to
days
talk
I
about
really,
it.
I really don't. But I've gotten to the point where it's taught me to, you know, my faith is very important to me, as it is to both of you as well. I don't know, you know, if our viewers are religious or not, but for me, my faith in Jesus Christ is like essential to my life. That's that's central to my life, and it's really taught me to, you know, put my faith in Him and, you know, in a higher power, because I was like, I can't do this on my own. Some days it's just like it's a little bit too hard, and so
Beyond just you,
and I've felt really lifted by you know, by my God and by my friends, the good people in my life. It's taught me to, like, I'm kind of a perfectionist at heart, and it's hard for me to accept help. It's hard for me to ask for help. It's taught me to learn how to kind of lean on other people when I'm not able to do things, you know, as well on my own. But also, like, it's taught me the power of my mind and how strong and powerful my mind is, that, you know, your outlook on things, your perspective and your attitude is huge. You know, I used to, like I said, define myself by this. And I realized I am more than that, like you said, you know. Kylie, we've had these conversations too. And everybody has their things. Everybody has their cross to bear in life, so to speak, right? But I think it's how you bear it and to whom you turn to. And in those moments, you know, that are really difficult and you feel like you can't make it further, you know. And I think that's really where in my opinion, that I think is the point of life. We're here to become better than we could be on our own. And the only way to get there is through these challenges that we face, because we live in a world where we're imperfect, you know, and things are imperfect, and we have sickness and we have illness and we have, you know,
so many hardships,
sadness and death. And, but, you know, but because of that, we can also feel the joy, and we can feel the happiness, and we can feel the gratitude, you know. So anyways, I don't know if that made any sense.
No, that was great.
It was so beautiful. I'm tearing up. So yes, it definitely made sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think is like important for all of us to remember and be thinking about, like, what is the purpose of life?
Yeah.
And not letting ourselves get so wrapped up in the hard, because yes, that's a huge part of the life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But allowing ourselves to still let our life be colorful.
Yes.
You know, I love this saying, and this was actually came from a lady we all knew in Ukraine. Her name is Larissa, and she always would say, life is beautiful and surprising. And
in English.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd say it in English. It was the best part.
And she would say it in Russian and Ukrainian as well. It was so beautiful. But the reason that hit me so hard specifically is that she was an elderly woman who was an invalid.
Truly.
She could not move from
her couch.
Here down.
Yeah.
She lived on a couch and had very limited help, very limited resources, very limited money. It's not like she had an on-the-clock nurse with her or anything. Like, she relied very heavily on the people in her life that would come and serve her. She would get a bath once a week if people from the ward came and bathed her. And
her family to give her, you know, meals if they could.
And so the incredible thing about Larissa, though, was that she had an absolute sparkle in her eyes. Like,
she did.
All through all these hard things, every time we would go, she would just laugh and tell us
she would
the
laugh.
most beautiful, bright stories.
Jokes. She was hilarious.
I'm sitting here thinking, like, she lives on a couch.
Yes.
She doesn't get to move.
Yeah.
she is an invalid. She has every reason to just be so mad at the world.
Yeah.
And she just was literally the most sunshiny person I've ever met.
The brightest light. Yeah.
And so I was like,
That's a great example.
oh
of that.
my gosh, like that's the purpose of life. Life is beautiful and surprising. It's hard, but we need to be careful not to just absolutely embed our minds and our hearts in just the hard and remember the colors, remember the beauty, remember the surprising, beautiful, exciting moments.
I mean, that just makes me think that, remembering the colors, like if life was always just yellow because it's happy sunshine all the time, I feel like that'd be kind of boring.
Yeah,
I know.
When we add in all the other layers and colors, that's what gives life its excitement.
Yeah.
As tough as that can be to remember sometimes, which is absolutely 100% valid. To feel those things, to be going through the hard, and to acknowledge that it sucks, right?
Yeah.
But that also brings that sweetness in, I
Yeah.
think, a little bit stronger when you have gone through
Absolutely.
those harder things. So, at least for me.
Yeah,
And I'm sure for y'all, so.
There's that verse for the Bible, men are that they might have joy, you know? And I think that, emphasis on that they might have joy, because it really is our decision. It's up to us. There's that quote about, your joy basically isn't dependent on life's circumstances. I think I butchered that, but, basically, your joy is your choice. That's your decision. Everyone has difficult things in life. That doesn't mean that you can't be happy still, in spite of those things, right? So,
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
anyways.
I think the main thing is not letting the bitterness become your life.
Yeah.
There's definitely people who kind of go that direction, and it's very sad when in reality there's still good. There's always still good to remember in life.
and there is a place for that opposition and that grief.
Yeah,
Of course.
absolutely.
And that's why I think I'm not a great example of this, because it's not like I've come out on the other side and I'm whole, but it's like,
and some days I'm back.
and some
I'm down.
But I'm like, that is important though. We need to respect our emotions and the way we feel and our bodies and our experiences, and allow ourselves to feel the pain and the sorrow and the sadness, as well as then the next day say like, okay, I'm going to get up today I can do it. Yesterday I just needed a day where it was hard, you know, and that's okay. It's like good to have the ebbs and the flows.
Sure.
And I think that that's really what makes you whole.
Yeah.
More than just like, oh, I've overcome this thing and I no longer have it, plaguing me or whatever.
The suppression is
No.
never a good thing for the body either.
No. Just the way that you're
I've
talking,
learned the hard way.
Kai, and you're like, well, I felt all of these things and I have, become closer to all these different people. I'm like, isn't that like
The point.
the most whole experience
Sure.
you can have?
Yeah.
Allow yourself to feel those things.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I think the difference is, okay, now what are you going to do with it?
Right.
Are you going to sit in it, or are you going to use it to, drive yourself further,
Grief is a funny thing where it kind of just hits you randomly at different times, whether that's like the loss of a loved one or a loss of a possible experience or things like that. Grief, it can absolutely hit in medical chronic illness kind of a setting, right? And so sometimes it just hits, but at the same time, like when it isn't hitting you, you can still live such a happy, full life. At least that's what I have observed from both of you.
Thank you. That's sweet.
You're so sweet. I love that.
Thank you. Love my girls.
I think even taking this one step further, like learning how to embrace this both for yourself is amazing and important. And then how do we take that same mindset into embracing motherhood amidst challenges and trials?
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Good question. I'm still learning. 3 months in, I'll let you know in a year. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, I don't suffer from any sort of like chronic illnesses, but I have definitely had my fair share of struggles in life and in motherhood especially. And I feel like, kind of bringing it back to what you said earlier, Kai, that people, I feel like people really make it possible. There can just be times when you are stretched so thin as a human, and you're just not functioning super well, and being able to have people to lean on that maybe they don't understand it or whatever, haven't gone through it themselves, but they are there for you. Oh my goodness, it's the best thing just to be like, you know what, I am not okay. And I can lean on these people, and they can either watch my kid for a minute, or they can just listen to me talk, and I just need to get this out, and then I'll feel better, kind of thing. At least those have been some of my own personal experiences where sometimes I just really have to just get it out of my head, get it out of my heart, kind of a thing. And then I'm like, whew, I can breathe a little easier, and I'm okay. Like I just needed to vent for a bit.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what friends are for in that situation. We need that support. Yeah. I think that's huge in motherhood, being able to have that community, like you guys talked about in your last episode, but also being able to be that for someone else. Yeah. I can think of times where you guys were there for me throughout, our time together, where you, in a way served me, ministered to me essentially, like, Marley, I can remember you coming to the hospital and being there with me in Ukraine, and I remember you bringing me a meal, when after I'd had a baby and I was like struggling, and Kylie, in so very many ways in our time in Ukraine and over the years. I can remember one like really special time in Ukraine when I was just really struggling. It was like in between my hospital stays, and one night I was just like in tears, I think. And I remember you just like, you didn't even talk. You grabbed some like lotion that you had, and I don't know if you remember this, but you put it on my feet and you just like rubbed my feet. And it just made me cry, because it was just like, it was a small thing, but it was so, I don't know. It was just so kind. You yourself were going through your own things in that time, but that was just such a testament to me of the way that you can be there for other people who may be struggling. And I think that's huge in motherhood too.
I think since we all go through hard things, it's important for us to remember to always be supporting other people who are going through their stuff too. It's like, we're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
It's all hard. It's hard for everybody,
And it helps you forget about your things for a little bit too. There's power in serving other people as well.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You kind of forget about yourself for a little while and your own problems, which can sometimes be the best medicine.
Another thing I think is really amazing for specifically challenges with motherhood is that what I'm excited for, and what I used to think before I had a kid, was like, oh, I want to be the perfect mom. So I don't want to have anything wrong with me, because then I'll be the best mom, right? And now I'm like, ew, I don't like that. I don't want to be the perfect mom. I want my kids to have a real mom. I want them to have a human mom. I want them to see she struggles.
She makes mistakes.
She makes mistakes.
And that's okay.
But also she has like some just like built-in stuff, even if it's different than what they experience, so that they know as they go through their own hard, like hopefully I'll be able to model and be an example, or just support them and love them. But like, I really want them to see me as a human being, and not a perfect mom they need to like worship, right? Or it's just not human. So I think like showing your kids, this is life.
Yeah.
Life is hard. Life is beautiful. Life is all these things. And allowing your kids to see you in those elements, I think is going to be so great for your kids.
Absolutely.
I agree. I think that's huge for your kids. I think that perfectionism is one of those things that it's just something that you can deal with your entire life. And one of the best things that you can show your kids is that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to not be perfect. We won't be. We will never be. While we're here in this life, we're not going to reach that potential. We're not going to reach that here, and that's okay. That's how we learn, and that's how we grow,
Some strategies for working through the trials and combating them every day. Just, again, cultivating that positive mindset that we talked about, allowing yourself to feel, but then seeking that support from loved ones and from community is so important. And for us personally, I can say that finding strength in faith and spirituality has been another aspect for us.
Yeah.
Whether or not that is for you, like mindset work and specifically meditation and just like kind of really thinking about who you are in the world and all that can be so beneficial.
Yeah.
And then seeking professional help when needed.
Yep.
Like, don't be afraid to keep seeking the help that you need in whatever capacity that might be. Mental and emotional well-being is so important.
So important.
And there are amazing professionals out there who can help you beyond what you can do yourself if that's where you're at, if you're at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we want to encourage you guys to prioritize your health, prioritize every aspect of your health, and really do look for guidance
Yeah.
in your challenges and struggles. And 9 times out of 10, you're not alone.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, there's someone else who can really feel the compassion and vibe with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that helps you to understand,
Absolutely.
like, you know what, I can move forward today. I can take one more step in that direction. And that's like also been a huge thing for me is everyone has stuff. Okay. I'm going to get up. I'm going to keep going. Like, we're going to keep fighting the fight and
Yeah.
embracing life and all its curveballs.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some good stuff so far. I love this. So we've talked about how it's really important to have your support system, have your people. But something that I've learned and observed is that I think it's really important to have those, support systems and things in place, not only to be able to get through whatever it is that you're experiencing, but I think it's also important to be able to develop better compassion and empathy. When you get outside of yourself, kind of what you're talking about, how sometimes service can be the best medicine, right? When you get outside of yourself and you realize that I'm not the only one going through stuff, right?
Yeah.
When you're kind of stuck in your own situation, it can be hard to be thinking about other people, right? So I think it's really important to be able to look outside of yourself and recognize, notice, observe when people are being vulnerable with you, or you notice in any situation or whatever that they're struggling, and being able to develop that compassion and empathy for those people, because maybe you've gone through that too. I think part of life, and maybe this is really hard, but I think it's really important, is I truly believe that we go through hard things for each other, not just for us, and for us to, find other people that we can to lean on, but for us to be that kind of person for someone else. I think it's an opportunity. I don't think it's guaranteed,
Absolutely.
but I think that it is definitely an opportunity to be able to deepen those aspects and characteristics, attributes, I would say.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Well, and it's true, because we're here to develop ourselves, but also to strengthen our relationships with others. I think that when it all melts away, all the fluffy things in life, the things that we have left are our relationships that we've forged here,
Definitely.
And so,
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part of it as well.
I think you can be going through those struggles and developing empathy and developing compassion. You can be maybe even grateful for your own challenges at the same time that you're having those hard feelings toward them, because you recognize other people are struggling and I'm struggling. We're all trying to get through it, and I'm grateful for maybe the ways that it's strengthening me, maybe the ways that my struggles aren't as hard as someone else's. I know it may not be, always the best to compare, but, you can still find strength and gratitude.
Absolutely.
Even when it's so hard.
Absolutely. Because I think I used to think, like, I just got to muster through. I just got to get through it. And I realized when I had that mindset, it really was just suffering. That's all that I was doing.
Yeah.
Like, I was suffering, but there was no, benefit to it. I wasn't learning anything. I wasn't growing. I wasn't, I don't know. And it became kind of a selfish mindset in a way as well. I started just kind of fixating on it and things like that. And I think it's easy to do that in life when you're in the thick of things, difficult things, challenges that you may be facing, which happen more often than not. I think life is full of a lot of difficulties with joy sprinkled in there, that, and that's, I think the journey of it is finding that joy and holding on to those things in spite of, the stuff that you're dealing with. And it really is possible to have both. Some days it's harder than others to have both. But it really is possible. And there's ways, how do you guys do that? How do you hold on to those things while you're dealing with that? I'm curious.
I remember when I was 14 years old, and I had a similar experience to you with the back pain.
Yeah.
Like one day out of the blue, I was like, I am unwell. Like I can't move. I'm having so much pain in my back.
Yeah.
And then that developed into down my legs, other nerve issues, literally like sometimes would be like paralyzed on the floor on the couch when I was 14 years old. We started going to a whole bunch of doctors and they told me, you're never going to live a normal life. Like you can't go to the high school.
I hate that. That's just horrible. Why would you ever?
And
would you ever tell a young person like that?
At 14, I was like, okay, this is my lot. This is my lot in life.
The cards I've been dealt.
This is the cards I've been dealt. I'm going to just accept this at face value because
also
that's
a
a doctor
child.
said that.
Yeah. They're the authority.
He's
here.
an expert. And he said, don't carry the grocery bags in from the car. He said, don't go to a football game and stand on the hard
The
bleachers for 3 hours.
Awful
He said
for him to say those things.
all these things. But it's like, I know it was awful that he said those, but it was also a defining point of my life where I had to ask myself after about half a year of
Doing
being
those things.
so sad and just like, okay, this is my lot. Like you said, just like, this is what I've been given.
Right.
I had this wake up. I don't remember like specifically what was going on, but I just remember one day being like, what if I don't accept any of those things?
Yeah.
Like, what if I'm the one who gets to decide? What if I'm the one who gets to decide how far I can take it and then still allow myself to rest? But like, what if I'm the one who gets to say, I'm going to do this until I can't anymore. And this is important to me, so I'm going to make it happen. Like, if I want to be a dancer, I can be a dancer.
Yeah.
I'm not good at
and
dancing.
maybe you have to. Maybe there will have to be modifications, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it.
I'm not going to accept my life is over. I get to make the decision for my life.
Yeah.
And when I had that wake up moment, it was amazing. And I have worked through so many health challenges and other challenges with that mindset of like, I'm the one who gets to make the decision on how this goes and how my mindset is. Yeah. And for me to work on my identity as like, it doesn't matter what the experts say. I get to be the one who knows my body the most. I know what I can do. I know what I can't do. And I know how far I can push it. And I'm determined to live the life I want with the struggles I have.
Yes.
So I'm going to hike. I'm going to do hard things. I'm going to carry
those dang groceries.
I'm going to carry them in one go. You know, or whatever.
Up those 3 flights of stairs.
And so many doctors were, that said, you can't do that. I'm like, watch me. Like, I absolutely can. And so for me, that's been a huge motivating factor, is just like finding, I guess, this like spark for life and drive within myself. And then knowing my limits. Knowing when I do need to say, as much as I wanted that and I want to give it my all, that's not something I can do right now. That one's harder for me, but I'm really working on it, you know? Hey, you know what? I really want to do this fun thing, but I'm not feeling 100% up to it. And I always, I never flake. I never do this. So I'm going to take today for me. I'm going to take today to rest. That's also important. So it is a balancing thing.
You have to balance it,
But you get to be the one who decides ultimately your fate, even when you're given a diagnosis on a health challenge or whatever it may be. Like, you get to create your life. No one else gets to do that. You are the creator, which I think has been a huge, important lesson for me to learn.
I love that.
I love that. I think you both are, I mean, in your own ways have been amazing examples to me of that. I mean, I really think there was a reason that I needed to meet you both, because you've been wonderful examples of just, you know, despite what's going on in your life, being able to not letting that bring you down. Like, you're going to go out, you're going to hike, you're going to do the things, you're going to go travel, you're going to start your family. You're going to, you know, even though it's scary and even though it's hard, and I think it's easy to be happy when everything is quote unquote going right in your world. You know, but more often than not, it's not going 100% right, and that's where the beauty and the magic happens. Where you can be grateful, and you can have that. You know, you can find that happiness even still.
And
right?
you can't wait for everything to line up with the perfect moment.
Exactly. Right. There's not going to be one.
No.
Yeah.
The perfect moment is when you decide to do it, you know?
Despite the hard.
Yeah.
I think that a common sentiment, you know, that's applicable in a lot of situations, but I think especially this one is, I'll be happy after I'm no longer sick, right? Or I'll be happy after 100%. I'm out of this trial, right? And we just know that that's not a thing. That's not possible to just get to the end and be like, all right, everything's now perfect enough.
There is no when.
Right.
Yeah.
To finally step into that
there
joy
will always
and
be
happiness.
Something
Right.
Yeah.
getting in the way of that if you wait for it.
So
Yeah.
being able to see the things that bring you joy every day throughout the trial, and allowing yourself to experience that joy, even if it's just like you had an Oreo or something, you know, something that like allowed you to feel some joy. I'm such a like little treat person. And I went to like 5 years of therapy for some really intense mental health challenges, and emotional health challenges. And, therapy was a beast, and it was just a lot. And so like I'd go to Swig and get myself a Texas Tab afterward, and that's what would like help me kind of reset after doing really hard therapy.
Talking about
doing hard things.
Exactly.
Facing things about yourself that you don't want to.
So being able to let go of the idea of I'm going to be happy after I'm out of this, that's just not possible, right? And who knows what's going to happen, whether it's going to be a chronic illness that follows you the rest of your life, or a trial that you're dealing with for 30 years. Why wait to just
Feel joy.
No one's stopping you.
No,
I
it's
mean,
just you.
It's you.
Yeah,
You're the one in your own way.
right.
That's what I've realized.
So
you know,
be okay with allowing yourself to find that happiness. I think that there's a lot of maybe kind of nuance to that, saying, well, you know, I'm going through some really hard stuff and I maybe don't feel like I deserve to be happy. That's just not true. That is not true. You absolutely 100% deserve to find joy every single day. Every single day.
Think of it as like your life's the cupcake, right? Like there's going to be hard things, there's going to be good things, but make sure you're like sprinkling on the good despite what's going on. The meat of the moment, you can still have little sprinkle joy moments as well.
I just don't believe in that black and white thinking that's like, I'm either happy or I am sad, and that's it.
You can have both.
Yeah.
You can be both.
Absolutely.
At the same time.
Yes.
you can.
Go watch Inside Out. If you haven't, it explains that it's possible to feel both.
All the emotions.
Yeah,
It is.
absolutely.
It is. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, any other thoughts before we start kind of wrapping up?
Just know you're not alone. And genuinely, like, what we hoped from this episode is that you can feel that everyone is going through something. We're right here with you, and you can have the things you're dreaming of despite the struggles and challenges you're going through.
Yeah.
And you can have this gratitude, and it can be hard, and you can have beauty and hardship, you know? It just it really doesn't have to be black and white like Marley was saying. It can be a giant capital and with your life. And that we love you. We want to support you. I hope that some of the stories we talked about today could resonate with you.
Yeah.
Even if your challenges are completely different.
Yeah.
We love you, and we do believe in a higher power out there who loves you as well and wants to help you through all the things you're going through.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Huge thank you to Julia for being in our episode today.
you.
Isn't she the cutest?
It was an honor. It was so fun. Thank you. I had
Thank
such a
you
great
so
time.
much. And we'll catch y'all next week.
Bye. Thanks for joining us this week on the Living Big podcast. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Remember to subscribe, rate, and review.
Join us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for all the things from relatable mom memes to fun girls' night ideas with your besties. See you next week.